Welcome back to the Tool Crib. Today, I went to go place my order for the brand new Swiss Tool Spirit MX clip, and to my dismay, they were out of stock, and so I'm going to have to wait a little bit before being able to pick one of those up. But in the meantime, I thought we'd take a look at a Victorinox knife that a lot of people have recommended to me that I should pick up to check out. And this one is called the Victorinox Huntsman, and I was able to find one today at a knife shop in the area where I'm working. And so I decided to go ahead and pick it up. Now, the name Huntsman would imply that this is more geared towards someone who's going to be more outdoorsy, so more like your campers, hikers, just genres like that. So we'll take a better look at the tool set and see if it really is something that would be more geared towards outdoorsmen or not. So let's take a look at the Victorinox Huntsman. So the Huntsman is one of those knives from Victorinox that is very, very popular, and for that reason, you'll see it in a lot of different scale configurations. In fact, where I went to pick this one up, they had a couple of unique scales. They didn't have the red Celador, they only had the black, so I just decided to get the solid black. But they have camouflage, and there's just any number of scales that they'll put on this particular knife because of its popularity. Now, this particular one is going to be a 4-layer knife, which maybe a little bit on the thick side for a pocket carrying knife. I generally like to have the 3-layer is where I'm really comfortable with Victorinox knives, but in certain circumstances, I guess a 4-layer wouldn't be that bad. So let's go through the tool set. So you're going to have pretty standardized tools on this one that you get from Victorinox. So we have the can opener with the integrated flat screwdriver. On the other side, you have the wire stripping tool that's integrated into the bottle cap lifter and then the large screwdriver. And this one also locks in the 90-degree position. So if you need to get more torque on a flathead screw or to use it as a twisting pry tool, I suppose, then you have that option. The next tool over on this one is going to be a pair of scissors. Now, I am a huge fan of the Victorinox scissors. I don't necessarily know that they're the right fit on this particular knife, though. They're great scissors. They're absolutely fantastic scissors that Victorinox makes, but we'll circle back to that, talk about that here in just a second. The next tool that's on here is one that, if I can get it the right side here, that a lot of people are going to like, and I think this is a tool that is well deserving to be in a knife called the Huntsman. That's going to be the wood saw that comes with Victorinox. Now, Victorinox makes some really great wood saws. There's a little bit of a debate about it. I tend to think that Leatherman wood saws are just a touch better because of the profile, the angle on the teeth is a little bit more conducive. It just doesn't catch as much, but that's not saying anything bad about Victorinox saws because they make really, really excellent saws in their own right. And then we have the knife blade. So you have your standard knife blade. Victorinox makes some really good knife blades, especially for little beater blades. They're a little softer, a little on the softer side. So they're not, obviously they're not going to be your high-end knives, but then again, we're not talking about a $200 tool here. And then it has the little pin blade that comes with this as well. I suppose a pin blade, and this is not something that I do, but I suppose that the little pin blade would be good for doing stuff like whittling. And then on the back side, this one comes with a corkscrew. Some with Victorinox, I wish they had different options. I wish they could come up with a different tool that might work better in here besides the corkscrew and the Phillips driver. I really don't know what that would be, but I'm sure that they could put their heads together and come up with even a third option that could eventually make its way into Victorinox knives. And maybe you guys have a suggestion on what something like that could be. And then the next tool they have is the Parcel Hook. Not necessarily just for parcels. This would come in handy for a lot of different situations. Really great for grabbing on the string or wire as well. So there's any number of circumstances where you can get a lot of use out of the package hook. And then the last tool on here, which I grabbed it on the wrong side there, is the awl. Now, this is definitely a tool that should be present on, again, going with that Huntsman theme where it's more of an outdoorsman's knife. This is something that I definitely like to see on here. And then we have the standard scale tools where you're going to have your toothpick, and on the opposite side, a pair of tweezers, which could also come in very handy. This one also includes the key ring that goes along with it. So this is a fairly decent tool set that comes with this particular knife, but I think that I would replace one tool on here, and that's going to go back to those scissors. Well, now we come back to the scissors on this particular multi-tool, and granted, now this is all opinion based, but it's my personal belief, and a lot of people that I've talked to over the years have really convinced me of this, that the scissors may not be the best option in this particular tool. Granted, I do very much like the Victorinox scissors that they put on a lot of different models of tools, but I think this particular one, because it's supposed to be more geared towards the outdoorsman, would be better suited if they replace the scissors with a file. And again, having conversations with a lot of people over the years that have convinced me that in an outdoorsman's tool that a file is one of those necessary tools. And I know that in my personal work EDC, which is the Leatherman Surge, I use the file pretty extensively, especially because of the fact that they have a diamond coated file. So I understand the importance of having that particular tool. Now, for an outdoorsman, that will mean they'll have the ability on the fly to sharpen up stuff like hatchets and axes and stuff of that nature. So it's my personal opinion that the scissors may not be the best solution in here, and I would definitely like to see them switch that out for a file. Now, the rest of the tooling I'm quite okay with. They have a nice selection of tools, especially the saw. Generally, I don't necessarily like the little pen blade. I feel it's redundant, but if you're using it for stuff like whittling tasks, then it's a pretty decent tool to have, or an extra knife blade to have on you. I do wish that maybe they could change something like I talked about before with the corkscrew, maybe do something a little bit different with this. Now, because this is a 4-layer, and I mentioned before that when you start getting above 3-layer, to me, a Victorinox knife above 3-layer is getting a little bit bulky to be a pocket carry tool. However, the Huntsman, you can also be purchased with a pouch as well. And so for those that may find it a little bit uncomfortable to carry, they do have that option available. Now, normally this one runs in their more plain Jane models or their solid color models for their scales. They're going to run in that $35 range. You can get more expensive with some of the extra scale options that they have, but they also, again, include it where you can buy it with a pouch, and that one runs about $52 or $53, somewhere in that neighborhood. I'm going to put links down below so that for all of those, for as many as I can find anyway, of the different versions of the Huntsman, because I understand why it's an incredibly popular Victorinox knife because of the tool selection. And, it's to the point. A lot of people may consider 4-layer to be their max for a pocket carry. I still think that 3-layer is a lot more comfortable, but it's all relative to what you're willing to carry. At any rate, the Huntsman is a very good tool. I like the tool selection quite a bit on here, with the exception of the scissors. I wish they could switch that out. That would be a nice model to have and more geared towards outdoorsmen, in my opinion. My name is Ben. You've been watching the Texas Tool Crib. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.